there's no doubt a very seasonal fluctuation.
Okay.
So we look forward to the hot weather.
And you sort of go, what's the temperature today?
The hotter the better, up to a point.
Yeah,
at some point, people just don't want to come out. But
right. Well, but then they're supposed to take it and take it
true.
home. Right.
That's the best time to eat at home.
Not to sound like a commercial. The reason why I was really hooked was because we started talking. I was going to be bringing some ice cream back, and one of the people who works with me here on the show, I know, is the term is lactose intolerant, I believe, and it made me think. Because remember when we spoke and you said, oh, well, but the sorbet doesn't have any cream in it.
That's correct. No dairy products.
No dairy products at all. And I thought, aha, now we're really talking, because some people like sherbets, which was part of what I was thinking would go very well with fruits and things for summer dining. But to be able to offer the information about what tastes like ice cream, but has wonderful fruit in it and things like that, but will not upset your stomach and your whole system, which is apparently what happens when you're lactose intolerant. And I was trying to find a nutritionist to come and talk just about that particular aspect, because a lot of people suffer from it. But we thought, and the second half of the show, we have a chef who's going to display and tell us how to make some menus and things like that. But let me jump back first and just hear a little bit about the history of the company itself.
Well, we were established in 1861, sorry. And Michael's the 5th generation, myself being the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
My great-grandfather started it in the backyard of Salem, New Jersey. And they had a mule-drawn churn. And I understand that my great-great-aunt, I guess it would lead the mule around. He was a Quaker school teacher, and just did this in the summer.
Your uncle, not the mule?
No, my great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Yes. And then eventually, he would bring produce and the ice cream up to the Market Street. There were quite a few merchants along the Market Street, which is, I guess, why it was named that. And then in 1893, when the Reading Terminal Market opened, a lot of the merchants moved in there, and my great-grandfather being among them. And we still have the original stand and the original place, the original marble. So we've been around for a while.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So when I was there scooping, I was bending over this
100-year-old
ice cream stand and stuff. What has been your experience, Michael, in coming up? Do you know, there's something special, like when you have 3, 4, 5 generations. Did you, as the youngest person, have to sort of delve into the history and kind of get into your grandfather's, great-grandfather's head? Have you ever read his journals? Do you have recipes?
Well, we do have, actually, the recipes were handed down through the family over the years, but it's really my grandfather, the 3rd generation, who developed the formulas and recipes that we use now. And we do have his original formulas and recipes. My grandfather would literally walk around the Reading Terminal Market, and depending on what fruits looked particularly good that day or what his customers had been asking him for especially, he would take those, buy them in the market, and then literally produce the ice cream in the basement of the market almost to order.
Wow. So there are machines and things, or were machines down there.
Exactly.
Very primitive,
right.
but not like we have today. But he went around, he made a yellow tomato ice cream, which didn't last too long.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
And as a young kid growing up, one of the things when we go to visit over at my grandmother and grandfather's, my grandfather would always put ice cream on our cereal in the morning. So there's a new serving idea for ice cream. Put it on your cereal. But it was great.
What did it taste like? What kind of cereal were you eating?
Oh, probably corn flakes. But he would cut the fruit up along with the ice cream, and it was really pretty good.
So it was like cream. He was using it like a cream.
Exactly right.
Yes.
In a way,
yes.
Yeah, just a little more flavorful.
Yes. I think he was trying to draw attention to himself away from my mother. I think he got a little jealous. So he would do all these wonderful things for the children in the morning.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a movie out right now, I don't know what the name of it is, about a father who's a chef, a Chinese father, who is trying to find some way to have rapport with his children. And he can't, he's, you know, for whatever the limitations which you bring from whoever your parents were, he couldn't communicate with them, and so he was trying to cook for them all the time. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the excerpts, you know, in several places. And they even show one place where he comes to school, you know, and brings food for them. And of course, they're like, oh, Father. Any things like that ever happened that you can remember where you volunteered or where your grandfather volunteered to do stuff, you know, for schools or holidays? Or
Well, my father used to make beautiful molds, the old-fashioned Santa Clauses, and he would use different ice creams, like peach for the cheeks and vanilla, of course, for the hair, and maybe a lighter peach for the face, raspberry for the soup, so forth. But it took him hours and hours, as you can imagine. But they were beautiful. I don't remember them, but my mother would tell me about them.
Because one of the fun things about family businesses are the legends and the things of how it started. Any stories that you can remember growing up with? Either of you?
Well, I know, our Irish coffee, I think, is pretty well known. And my father developed that. That is definitely, because I remember this, he and my mother had a little argument. So to appease her, she loves Irish coffee, and he developed this for her. And,
does it have the Irish coffee that we're speaking about that has liqueur in it?
Yes, actually has the Irish whiskey in it.
We use the real, like, if I'm allowed to say, the brand Jameson's Irish whiskey in the Irish coffee. So it's got a nice little spike to it.
Right. Now, do you, when you do that, do you have to have a caveat on the ice cream that it has X amount of alcohol or anything like that?
No,
people
because
are also
over a certain amount you do, I think.
It's a low enough quantity that it doesn't exceed whatever requirements you need to have that sort of disclaimer. And it's also, the liqueur is fairly volatile, so the alcohol portion of it does tend to evaporate off in the course of production, leaving the flavor of the liquor, but not so much of the kick.
Because, you know, even vanilla has alcohol in it.
Absolutely.
You know, and stuff like that, which they found in boarding school sometimes when people were slurping down vanilla, you know. Oh, I use it on my arms, you know. So now, someone asked me about that. What is the distribution? Are you, you know, in the Northeast, or are you all the way across the country?
We're mostly on the East Coast. We're
I
up to
thought
New York, down to Florida. Got New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Washington, Virginia. What have I left? We're in
Well, I mean,
Atlanta.
that gives us
But principally the
on the
East
East
Coast.
Coast.
Philadelphia is obviously our primary market. We do our own delivery to a lot of restaurants and dipping parlors and country clubs and hotels in the area. And then because there are people who know our product, both from having lived here or having visited Philadelphia, there's a demand for it in other areas along the East Coast. It's obviously much easier for us to ship to cities that are a little more proximate to Philadelphia than trying to get it all the way across the country, but...
We had a problem with that. The ice cream actually exploded because of the altitude.
Wow.
All ice cream has a certain amount of air in it. And as you change altitudes, the air will expand. As the air pressure around the product goes down as you go up in altitude, the air in the ice cream expands. And then in this particular instance, it burst through the containers.
Wow. So would you have to be careful in an airplane?
No, but that's pressurized.
Okay, just next time I order ice cream in the airplane, you know, I'll be going, where are we? How do you get your fruit and stuff? Do you buy from local farmers?
It depends on the flavor. Many cases, not all of the fruits and ingredients are available locally or available locally year-round.
That would be a problem because you have to be consistent, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Although sometimes, like cherry vanilla's kind of disappeared for a while, and I figured it must be in another company. I mean, another company.
Well, we had some trouble getting cherries too, actually, for a while. I think it was about 2 months ago. We had a month there where we really had a heck of a time getting the black Bing cherries that we use. But where we can, obviously, we'd like to use local producers, but many of our flavors, for instance, the Irish coffee, we use the Irish whiskey that we've used. My grandfather included in the formula.
Now that would have been a picture when they were taste testing that one. Now, let me see, how much?
Well,
that could have been great.
A little bit more.
Yeah,
we brought, as
stuff.
we mentioned today, the sorbets, and one of our sorbets is a champagne sorbet, and we use a number of cases of the Great Western Champagne for each 100-gallon batch of mix that we produce.
That's the only flavoring. It's strictly the
Just that.
champagne. We don't add any background flavor.
That is interesting. Now, see, I really wasn't aware of that one. Now, you found a friend here because I love champagne, and you make.
Well, it's delicious.
It's like a winey ice cream soda.
Well, it's used mainly, I think, as an interlude between courses. Yes. It's
You mean when they
to
give you
cleanse
those little
the palate.
tiny little things, little cups like that big?
Yes.
And you always want more to
Yeah.
clear the palate,
Yes,
to clear the
exactly.
palate a little bit.
Yeah, it's not something you want to eat from an ice cream cone, I don't think. Some people do, but
Well, no, I saw it more as dessert, maybe in a
oh, you can make wonderful desserts with it.
something. My mouth is getting watery. I've been thinking about. And so so you've chosen a chef for us. Derek Davis is going to come and teach us how to put them together. The thing that I was so excited about was the idea, and what I like. How much research went into figuring out that's your recipe, isn't it, for the sorbet?
Yes.
Because it is so rich tasting. I mean, it really is, and I don't mean to sound like a major commercial, but it really is. Yeah, and I think that people will find it really surprising.
Well, again, that was my father.
With the fruit,
But he developed these flavors. He had a wonderful, imaginative way of doing things, and his
He had a
taste was
terrific
impeccable.
palate.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, the recipes have been fluid over the years until my grandfather really, he experimented, and there were, I'm sure, many, many years where he would bring out a different variation of a sorbet and a ice cream until he literally got to just what he felt were the perfect proportions of ingredients.
Okay, well, stay tuned, stay with us, because when we come back, we're going to show you some of these recipes that we're speaking about, and perhaps we can find a little more about how that chemistry worked. All right, so we'll be right back with some great ideas for you. Stay with us. Well, here we are, and we're celebrating Bassett's Sorbet today. This is Sorbet Day, and so on. Joining me for this half of the program when we are speaking about these wonderful desserts, and also we'll find out that they are not just necessarily desserts, is Chef Derek Davis. And your restaurants are Sonoma and Prime?
Kansas City Prime.
Kansas City Prime, both in the Manayunk area.
Right on Main Street.
Right on Main
Correct.
Street. Yeah, I've been in Sonoma's, you know, and there's an incredible line on Friday evenings. Not to, well, I won't say don't go, but you be prepared to wait and have a couple of drinks.
It's a
or
fun
something.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
People are there for the
nice
food.
atmosphere. Nice atmosphere. Also, just staying with us for this segment also is Michael Strange, who is the president of Bassett's, and Ann Bassett herself, who is the CEO of Bassett Company, Bassett Ice Cream. They are here in Philadelphia, and the reason why they're here, in case you weren't with us in the beginning, was the fact that I stumbled upon the fact that they had this wonderful sorbet which was lactose-free. And I know that so many people have these problems. So we are offering you now several recipes, thank you, sir, that we're going to tell you how to use this, aside from just desserts, which is what we tend to think of sorbets and sherbets for. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let us jump right in there. You can start explaining
Okay.
just what you have here.
Sure. Well, as a
Looks
young
like
child,
raspberry soup.
I became lactose intolerant also. And I had to find ways to eat refreshing foods. So I became a sorbet addict myself. And I've been eating sorbet for just about everything, breakfast included. It
On your
really-
cereal? Like
Not on my cereal. Unfortunately, I
Grandfather Bassett
have
said.
not had a bowl of cereal in many years. But
What do you
I
eat
did
for
miss it.
breakfast? What do chefs eat for breakfast?
Sorbet. I do eat a lot of raw fruits and vegetables and a lot of picky stuff.
Okay. Well, so we don't run out of time. I'm
Okay.
going to let you start right away.
What we have here is a chilled blueberry soup. Basically,
Is that
it's
what
just
that is?
it's blueberries pureed with honey and Stolznaya vodka.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like that.
And we're
Interesting
simply going to
consistency.
take the Bassett's raspberry sorbet and garnish the top, just like that. Throw a couple fresh raspberries in.
How long does it take before they sink? Do you have to time it? You know?
Doesn't look like these are going to sink. Garnish it with some fresh mint, and there's your
Voila.
beautiful first course.
Gorgeous.
Oh, that does look wonderful.
Of course, you couldn't resist.
Right, right. Hey, what's the purpose of being the host? That is very light. Now, how did you get the seeds up there? You know, a lot of problems with blueberries, you get all those little seeds.
In a blender. Just put them right through a blender. It's pretty simple. If you do have a
that's
problem with the
great.
seeds, you can just get a real fine sieve and
And
sieve
just,
them out.
sieve it through, that's
Yeah,
true.
but if you let it go in the blender long enough, this should
Mushes
break it up.
everything up, huh?
Yeah.
Pits, leaves, everything. I'm kidding. That's really, really delightful. How much Stoli?
Oh God, I have about 3 ounces to about a
Okay,
quarter.
so like a quart of
berries.
soup.
Yeah,
Just gives it just
not
a
much.
little pleasant kind of a little
Little
after,
kick.
little
Little
so
kick.
something that gets back there. Something
Yeah.
kind of nice, but it's not alcoholish
A
at
lot
all.
of times when you have a fruit soup in a restaurant, it'll be pureed with some cream or yogurt.
Sort of cuts it or blends it,
Yeah.
sets it up in a way,
Yeah,
right?
so-
Is that your term? It sets it up.
It rounds out the flavor. It builds,
not your
builds
soup.
bridges.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, the next one. This is great for a very hot day. I could see this, and the soup is heavy enough.
Or
By
breakfast.
The way. Oh, breakfast. Right, right. Let's go back to our fruit breakfasts. Yes. Okay.
What we have here is a fillet of salmon that's been poached in tequila, and it's served with a summer vegetable relish with asparagus and some salad greens. Now, what we're going to do here is use some of the lemon sorbet. And the lemon sorbet should be a very nice complement to our tequila. And when that melts down and
Oh, okay. Then you
blends-
want it to melt a little bit
Oh,
so that
yeah,
it serves almost
sure.
like a sauce.
Sure. And that'll help round out the relish also.
Smooth out the tequila.
I'm gonna try some too.
Good recipe. Well, that is wonderful. See, I haven't tried all of them because I tend to get stuck. If you have one you like, you know, like I'm a
yes,
peach person and things, and I start going back to the same thing. But that would blend with any kind of fish. I could see that being really, really good with almost any fish, and some of the lighter meats, depending on what kind of sauce you're working it
Why don't you
with.
try some fish with it?
Okay. Well, a lot of times when people bring fish and they say, well,
Oh no.
all right, I trust you. I should try it first with and then without, shouldn't I?
So,
And then-
so this is just a real nice summertime kind of dish.
And
know,
it can
when
be prepared in advance.
That is the beauty of it.
I like that very much. Okay, ready with my
All
spoon.
right. Now, what we're going to do here, I always was partial to pizzelle cookies during the Christmas season, and it kind of bummed me out. I could only get them during Christmas. So what we've done, we've developed a little pizzelle cookie here that we
has a little cup.
shape for a cup to
How do you
serve
do
our
that?
sorbets. And when it's hot, you just take
just
it
kind
out
of
and just put it
stick
on
it in a bowl or
on
something?
the ball, exactly. And it's
Oh, all right.
Cools
So
off.
you could sort of warm it up, or you could actually steam them a little bit and kind of push it
just
down
like
into
that.
here. Or this is a little deep, probably.
Correct. So what we do during the year, we get different fruits that are in varying degrees of ripeness, and when they're a little very ripe,
Mushy.
we make fruit purees, which are basically
That's how you guys do that.
yeah, which are just the fruit pureed with a little bit of sugar or lemon if it needs it, and we use these
Those
in squeeze bottles and basic ketchup bottles for garnishes, and we just put a little on the plate.
Ta-doo, ta-doo, ta-doo,
That's it.
ta-doo, ta-doo.
And this was peach, and this one's raspberry.
So anybody can be a gourmet
Anybody
cook.
can do it.
They can
Really?
learn
Yeah,
how to
it's
do
pretty
it.
simple. And you just take our knife and
Let's
move them around
move
the
them around,
plate.
Get a little artistic.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, now,
I should show that so that they can see that. Ah, see, that looks nice.
in this we're going to use our
want another
orange sorbet.
Oh, you should be using the other scooper with it from the lemon.
All goes.
Oh, you're going to mix it anyway.
Yeah. We're going to use the orange here.
How much does the color play in your restaurant? How much does color play in your presentation?
Well,
Do you work with that a lot?
Of course, color is very important. Obviously, I mean, you got colorful plates, you got very colorful food. But
These are the plates that you use at your restaurant?
yes, yes, this is our standard dessert plate. Now, the most important thing though is the taste.
Yes.
Now, what I have here is a blood orange, and this is a
Wow.
orange that cuts red.
Wow.
And we're just going to use this as a little garnish on our sorbet plate.
Well, that is a ripe
Isn't that beautiful?
orange. That's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. Watch the paint, Derek. Watch the paint. It took us a long time to get this set.
There you go.
I could see the art director right now having a heart attack if he saw us.
Well,
Wow!
and a little mint on there.
That's beautiful.
And there we have our sorbet luncheon.
Oh, that is absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
And what flavor is that?
That's the orange.
That's the orange flavor.
sorbet.
Just forced.
That looks so refreshing.
Yeah, doesn't it look
It
wonderful?
does.
I mean, it actually invites you to
Yes.
want to eat something, which in a lot of
Pulls you
times
off
people
by
just
looking at it.
lose their appetite.
Being that I have young children, it's really challenging to get them to eat, so we have to make the food look really nice for them too.
Michael, you were talking during the break about I asked Michael whether or not he had to work. In fact, I asked you both whether or not you had to work your way through as you're coming up. Is it true, you know, that when you're in a fourth, fifth generation company, that you don't start in the office someplace like
That's
that?
right.
You got to tell them what you used
Well,
to
I
do.
started out in
summertime.
6th grade clearing the counter of dishes at, I think it was about a quarter an hour, which is
Pretty good.
pretty good rate,
Yeah,
I
not
guess,
a quarter
for
a
sixth
day.
grader.
Well, that's right. No, you're
moved up to
fairly
actually
contemporary.
scooping the ice cream, and then I spent summers when I was in college working at the ice cream plant. As a matter of fact, I didn't actually come into the business on graduating from college. I was in public accounting for several years, and then ultimately came into the business from there.
Oh, that was not a bad idea either. You know, you sort of get all the talents and skills and bring them back together again. And what did you have to do when you were? Oh, that's a nice sound. Thank you, Tiffany.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And we'll come back and just talk a little bit about serving just the sorbets themselves in nice dishes and things.
Well, my father did put me to work scooping, as Michael had to, and I became, I think, one of the best scoopers they ever had. But we sometimes would argue, shall we say, and he would fire me, and then he'd rehire me. I don't know how many, not quit. I don't know how many times this happened, but...
Did you get mad ever and say you're going to go work someplace else?
Oh, yes, yes. And he would say, go work somewhere else.
Well, that's happened a few times.
Yes, and the same... Yes.
Do you have a
Mother
lot
and
of
son.
old family pictures
Yes,
from
quite
the
a few.
early days with the big crocks and things?
Yes.
I should have asked you, because that would have been great to have seen the picture with the horse-drawn.
Oh, I
Do you
don't
still
have any of
that
those,
yet?
unfortunately.
Oh, I bet you
No,
there's someplace,
no.
though. I bet you'd find them maybe either in newspapers or,
You know, I
from the
wonder-
1800s. I
Yeah.
bet there's someplace there's going to be something like that.
We have some old movies that my grandfather filmed of producing the ice cream in the market.
Underneath the
Oh.
Reading Terminal.
40 or 50 years ago,
Yeah.
and then we had those converted over to videotape. They're fun to watch.
That Reading Terminal really has so much history with
Isn't
it.
it?
I'm
Yeah.
glad they fought to keep it the way it was, because they wanted to come in and bring everything in. And
It looks
chrome
great
and
now. They
stuff.
love
really
that
did a great
place.
job.
Yeah. Let's take advantage of the fact you have some champagne here, and we were talking before, speaking about the champagne. I think we have a couple of minutes left. What do you do with that?
Champagne and sorbet. It's a natural combination.
Yeah. And we can all... You'll teach us the proper way to decork a bottle, if it's cooperative. Sometimes the bottles are cooperative. We have a minute left. Do we think we can make it?
I think so.
Strong hands. Oh, wow. That's very effective, not much fun, but you notice whenever anybody opens the champagne bottle, everyone goes, oh! Even in a restaurant, you'll hear a couple of people go, oh, somebody's drinking champagne.
It's like fireworks.
Quick, do the other part, do the other part so
Okay.
they can see what it's going to look like. Great.
We've
So you're
got
going to
our-
use the strawberry?
We got our strawberry
Strawberry?
sorbet, nice and soft.
Oh, right. And then I can see it's going to be garnished with a whole big strawberry stuck on the top, too. Wow.
Very careful.
And that'll
And then
be
we
great.
just have
Okay, and then you
All
can
fresh
take your
raspberries here.
raspberries or your strawberries or whatever. Okay, well, thank you very much for being here. And everybody, we've told you what now to do if we have another heat wave for the next week. Thank you very much for being with us today. Sorry, we'll just have to take care of some of these things. Thank you very much, Derek. I've got to taste everything, right? You know? All right, thank you very much. Wonderful meeting you, Michael. Wonderful being with you. We'll see you tomorrow.